Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, March 24, 2024, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Quote from Buckminster Fuller: "There is nothing in a caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly." Throughout this day, breathe deeply and allow your heart to relax completely. Soften any protection you perceive around your heart. Lighten any defensiveness from yesterday. Feel yourself being safe enough to become as delicate as a blossoming young flower. This process of softening and opening your heart will slowly quiet your mind. Begin the process of awakening your spiritual experience of this life. Automatically, it will happen, making it easier to feel at peace with life. Practice this each day for 21 days in a row. You'll feel a real sense of connection with this divine moment. This will create the habit of choosing peace over drama in your system. You'll begin your journey to real healing. The one who has the most relaxed, open heart also has the most fulfilling life. Their mind easily surrenders to embracing and experiencing the highest divinity within. The movement of surrendering is not some action of giving up, something that gives your life joy, meaning, or direction. Surrender is not about throwing up a white flag, losing the will to live. It has a much deeper spiritual dimension than that. Go deep into understanding spiritual reality. Consider who you are. Recognize your spiritual identity. Realize that God is with you. He is you. Don't just sit and wait. Get out there and feel life. Touch the sun and immerse yourself in the sea, brimming. Real surrender is our deepest possible relaxation into ourself. We are giving up trying to satisfy the ego's relentless list of desires and demands. We realize they are all very short-lived moments of the ego being pacified and are not giving us the real connection, strength, and feeling of spiritual peace. The path of surrendering the ego to a higher power, the greatest bliss, secret to letting go, all the pains we're still carrying. Our pains always exist on the periphery. Even though, when we are upset or angry, it seems our entire being is filled with agony. When we look deeper into the very innermost core of our energy field, we always find the watcher who's unscathed by it all. The one who is witnessing the drama is untouched by the cyclone of the mind and abiding in an ever-present river of peace. Life is like a camera. Just focus on what's important. Capture the good times. Develop from negatives. And if things don't work out, just take another shot. At our very innermost center, our being is a spiritual reservoir of freedom, joy, and real abundance. Why do you think millions of monks, ascetics, retreat from the world, sit in a cave to be all alone with their pain? They have had a glimpse of this divine sacred nectar that one can call a meeting with God. And they are trying to reconnect with that feeling again. The liberation they discover in this deep inner journey is a sensation of peace and love that has no boundaries or limitations. Let your life be that of the rose. In silence it speaks the language of fragrance, Babaji. This infinite spiritual reservoir is always there, never dry, and always flowing. You don't have to do anything to create it. You don't have to heal yourself, forgive others, or do anything for it to exist. God is already here right now. The mind just has to learn how to trust this and let go of the habit of believing that you're a limited human being filled with problems, desires, and limitations. That's like way far from what it really is. This spiritual shift in consciousness is very slight, yet extremely powerful. It is a transformation that will root your entire life in real joy and peace. This path is about trusting in the experience of surrender, surrendering to the experience of trust. Once your heart is 100% trusting of this life, yourself, the future, the past, and the divine plan, then the deepest relaxation happens all on its own accord. He is knowing your freedom from pain begins with this choice to surrender to the moment, trusting that it's always taking you on an eternal river of bliss. This moment of your life is not invasive, abusive, or trying to hurt you. This very moment of your life is so delicate and precious. It is here to help you let go of your past and heal. It's the mind that's creating all your confusion and chaos, making you rewatch the trauma, drama movies from your past. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Rumi. The real apocalyptic battle that we are seeing in this world is not coming from the physical form, but from what's underneath it. The inner contains the source of all outer pain that you see in this world. It is always manifesting from the unhealed past traumas in the inner world. The mind is creating all of the fear and taking action on its fears, thus creating more drama and suffering. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Lao Tzu. Our liberation, however, based on how frequently we choose spiritual fulfillment over our ego's fears, we have the power to reinvent our version of reality based on beliefs that liberate us. Whatever truly liberates our heart and soul is what we most need to focus our energy on today, if we really want to be free. It's the perception, deception patterns of the mind that forget that we have this perpetual option to look inside instead of outside for the answers. not blaming the inner for what it believes is wrong inside you, but looking deeper into the stillness that's at the center of the pain for what feels lighter, more effortless, and is already at ease. The moment you surrender, the heart opens, the mind becomes quiet. Eckhart Tolle. This lightness inside all of us has all the answers. When we relax deep enough into our heart, we soon find out what is really important and worth remembering. This amazing, healing, loving presence is always inside us, always available, and ready to be experienced now. We simply have to stop and open to the spiritual being inside us now. The reason it's so difficult is that the mind is in the way. Your mind is the greatest mechanism for falsifying reality. It cannot surrender to this lighter, freer experience in the heart and is always telling us to come back to reality. The mind is filled with saboteurs, negative thoughts, and deceptive perceptions that cannot be trusted. So we must choose always to trust the heart over the mind. And I believe we all know that what we resist persists. This deeper resonance and surrender to the heart is what eventually gives birth to the enlightened state, or the greatest spiritual awakening of your life. And the only reason it hasn't happened yet is simply because the mind has other priorities and distractions. It doesn't believe such a great enlightening experience is possible for you. Maybe you feel like you don't deserve it, or you have to work hard for it, or that it's only something that occurs to the special few. The mind simply doesn't understand what the spiritual source is. It can only think in limitations, and so just gives up on its inner quest and returns to what is comfortable and known. Its daily habits, routine, and its perpetual search in the outer world to fulfill its desires so that you can feel more joy and peace and become satisfied. Great quote from Rumi. You were born with wings. Why do you prefer to crawl through life? Enlightenment occurs when there is no ego mind in charge calling the shots, telling you what to do and how to do it. Real freedom happens when you are surrendered to the state of pure presence, at peace with your past and future. The ego is surrendered to being at one with everything and everyone. When the heart is fully open, the mind is suddenly forced to become calm, at ease. The unhappy ego fades away in the light of pure awareness, and only the bright eternal witness remains. The only problem is that it often takes some super deep levels of suffering before we realize that we need a spiritual awakening. The moment we do realize this, then more devotion and dedication show up in our hearts. We're suddenly feeling open to everyone and everything. This light spiritual feeling within all of us arises out of the openness of its own accord. Realization or enlightenment is not an end. It is a continuous beginning. Prashant Tripathi. Now, once you have 100% committed to not letting the mind master you, yet you are the master of your mind, the mind becomes a servant and abides in this natural, blissful river inside the heart. The mind is distracted. Chaotic patterns become absorbed by the depth of silence and the power the heart contains. This silence is always here, easily found in between every thought, heartbeat we have. Look for it. You'll find it. I have learned silence from the talkative, tolerance from the intolerant, kindness from the unkind. Yet, it's strange how I am ungrateful to these teachers. Khalil Gibran. Now you can become the master of your life today based on your decision to quiet this untamed, wild mind and direct your energy vigilantly into the heart. The peace-filled power that it will bring into your life will be much greater than any accomplishment or dream could ever achieve. Besides, everything you create in the outer world will one day dissolve or be taken away. Invest your life in that which is eternal. That is the only wise choice at this point in this game. Take action. Tame your mind in each moment. Bring your attention to the heart of your being. Once you realize that you are confined for an eternity in this ever-present moment, you realize surrender is your only choice. So start taming the mind with soothing, loving thoughts that gently lead it into the heart. Always respond to others coming from the very essence of your heart. If you don't know what this is, place your attention on your physical heart for the next 30 days. Soon, you'll notice profound sensations of love, joy, and peace growing in you. Again, we go back to the understanding of choice. Everything in this journey, currently the journey of this planet known as Earth, Gaia, Arya, Sophia, is about what? With all of us. discovering the gods that we are within these bodies. That's what it's all about. That's the whole thing. The mind, the ego, are illusions created for us to overcome, for us to master. Now, if you were to remove all this illusion, what would you be? You would be a God in the moment or the now, in total peace, bliss, harmony, and joy. That would be it. That would be your existence. Not doing and doing and doing and having and getting and wanting and doing. This is ego mind. I'm not saying that you just, flop off and hang out and do nothing the rest of your life. But understand, when you go within, you make that choice. You're motivated to go within. You're looking at pain and anguish and frustration and fear and anxiety, and I don't mean all the time. And you say to yourself, I wish there was a way that this would go away. And that's what I'm sharing with you. There is a way for it to go away. That's by surrendering, going within and surrendering. Letting go of lots of things, even things that we really, hold on tight to. We really hold on tight to. It could be something that isn't really enjoyable at all. But we're in such a habit, we feel if that we let it go, then we're going to be in trouble. We have a continual challenge because we're inside the jar. So, and we can see everything, right? And there's a lid. We can't undo the lid because we're inside the jar. That's the ego mind. Now, when you realize that you can move yourself outside the jar, and you can take the lid off, and the God within expands. And it's determining and deciding that, hey, this is where I choose to be. Silence is very powerful. When you stay mostly in silence, you begin to open yourself to peace, joy, bliss, happiness, in silence. No talking, no constantly telling a story, complaining about something or another, worrying, stressing and fearing, conversation either with yourself or others about all the bad things. What are we going to do? And all this mumbo-jumbo stuff. Remember, where does all that come from? Where does it come from? It doesn't come from the God that we are within these bodies at all. It comes from the ego mind. And many of us embrace those thoughts as our own. So we take those thoughts, move them into form, we create them into our reality, and we experience them, whether they're ours or not. What do you believe would take place or occur if all of us were to move into peace, silence, not interacting with others, completely at peace with the gods that we are within? What do you think would happen? All of us on this planet, in it, above it, and below it. Well, there wouldn't be any conflict whatsoever. It would be zeroed out. There wouldn't be any aggressiveness whatsoever. It would be zeroed out. There would be no hate, no anger. There would be no pain, no frustration, no stress. There would be no greed, no manipulation, no deception. It will all be gone. That's how powerful we are. Only when the ego mind is front and center does all this take place. It's where it all comes from. It does not come from the God that we are in the body. Some people believe that it does. When you get into an argument, we've all been there more than once, right? It's what is it about? What is it about? Who's right and who's wrong? Isn't that it? Plain vanilla experience, that's pretty much what it is. Oh, sure, there's throw-offs and derivatives, but for the most part, generically speaking, it's who's right and who's wrong. Who knows and who doesn't know. Now, within, in the now, none of that happens. In the now, we open our hearts. We're in deep gratitude all the time. It doesn't make us weak. It doesn't make us powerless at all. We're omnipotently powerful, supreme beings that never die. And most of us, that's kind of a little bit bent, isn't it? That understanding there. Because so many of us are attached to these physical bodies, we're totally distracted. We're deeply into the material physical world. Completely so. What controls humanity? What does it? The ego mind. The powerful thing. What has caused us throughout the ages to conflict with each other? The ego mind. Most of the things that we are taught or believe, where does that come from? The ego mind. This is a discovery for all of us, and I'm not saying that it's a real easy peasy thing, because we've grown so accustomed lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to embrace the ego mind, to believe that that's our thing. You know, that's part of us. That's our guide that we follow, that tells us things, directs us in different directions, motivates us to make certain decisions. That's why we get angry. That's why we get upset. That's why we get depressed, disheveled, all kinds of those, all of that. Why we question ourselves. That's why we come down on ourselves, ridicule ourselves, disrespect ourselves. See, we get caught, if you will, because we're just these beautiful open vessels when we're born, when the baby body's there, and we come out, and then we get programmed. Right? Now, doesn't it make sense that if we're going to be programmed, that we be programmed with the right stuff, right? The good stuff, like who and what you really are, and how omnipotently powerful you are, and who the ego mind is, and what's its purpose. How would your life be when you know that you know who and what you are, that you're the God, you're the kingdom of God, you're the heaven on earth, you're the source of creation. You're the God. And at a very early time in that physical body, this is what you learn. And you embrace it. And you also know that, everybody just about on this planet are mastered by their ego minds. No matter how you look at it, it always comes back to the understanding that we're mastered by our ego minds. We don't know any different. That's the whole point. You realize how this would be expedited in the event we knew about this in the beginning. And yes, we would experience emotional, but knowing that that is connected to the ego mind. When we leave these bodies, there's the understanding that we've been taught on this planet. The movies and, the different writings and teachings throughout the ages become very confusing for us. Because we've created so many man-made religions on this planet, tens of thousands of them. And it's very confusing. Well, doesn't it make sense that all of these man-made religions point to what? One way, shape, form, or another. That the God is out there. That God's out there. It's outside of you. Not within you. You're not the God. You're human. You can't be God. You're human. God is spiritual and almighty and powerful. You're weak. Your flesh is weak. Your mind is weak. You're easily led. You're easily manipulated. You're easily directed. Okay? See, it's no wonder that so many of us are very confused as far as direction, because we don't tap into the wellspring of the God that we are within these bodies. So we go through this life never knowing who and what we are. We leave the body, we start all over again. But see, the God doesn't feel pain, sorrow, anguish, depression, anxiety, fear, hatred. That doesn't feel that. None of it. doesn't get angry, isn't hateful, doesn't deceive. It's totally, it is the opposite. Isn't it amazing? The God that we are is in these bodies. Yet, we believe that the body is us. And it isn't. Some believe it is, but it isn't. It is a vessel. It is temporary. And we use it. And more of us are realizing that in order to have a really good quality stay in it, we've got to educate and be knowledgeable of it, how it operates, what it does. When it needs help, when it doesn't need help, when it's functioning wonderfully well, when it's not. No different. It's like any vessel that moves us around. That if you don't take care of it, we know what happens. Breaks down. That's why a car and these bodies are similar. They're similar. Car has a brain, engine. Okay. Body has a brain. We got hoses and fluids and everything in the car. We've got hoses and fluids and everything in these bodies. It's quite interesting. Now, when we don't take care of the body, it gives us a lot of trouble, doesn't it? We don't take care of the vehicle, it gives us a lot of trouble, doesn't it? So it's when you're not aware of who and what you are, how are you going to be aware of what the body is? Not. You ever notice there's many of us that think there's something missing? Can't put our finger on it, but there's something missing. You know what that something missing is? Some people say they don't feel fulfilled in life. No matter what they do, they don't feel fulfilled. No matter if they got gazillions of dollars and mansions and everything, or living in a small cabin somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. There's something missing. And the missing is that we have not discovered that we're not the body, that we are the God within the body. That's what's missing. Our spirituality, that's what's missing. This center has all the answers that we could ever have given to us. That's where all the answers are. That's where all the information is. And all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever. Because our gods, the gods that we are, tapped into all of it. Always have been, always will be, ever beyond and forever. We're never not. And it's for us to discover. Some people have had thousands of lifetimes, but they haven't discovered it yet. There's a cycle, and we all feel it on this planet. There's a cycle, right? What's the cycle now, and has been for generations? You come into a baby body, and they call it being born, right? And then the baby body grows, and you experience. As the baby body grows, you experience more. You experience this, you experience that. And then, what would happen if that cycle was shifted, changed? One might say, what are you talking about? Well, instead of the regular programming that we have all received, every one of us, when we go into a baby body and when we were born, as they say, And then we start getting programmed and conditioned. What if we were to program the truth of what we are and who we are? What if we were to do that? What would happen? Well, it would point us in the direction to mastering the ego mind, because we would know what the ego mind is. We would know it's an illusion. And we would know why it's there. We would know that the 60,000 plus thoughts that we have every single day, 24/7, we would know what those are. We would know that, no, I'm not interested in that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. But I'm interested in the ones I send out. Those are the ones I'm interested in. The thoughts that I send to this universe, which I am the universe, and the universe is me. Just like you being a drop of water in the golden ocean, right? You're the golden ocean, the golden ocean is you. And to see that one shift just there will begin to shift this entire civilization into a whole other existence. You see the cycle? We're all in it. It cycles every single time. Is it exactly the same? Yeah, pretty much. That's the cycle. We're born, we live, we die. That's it. In a very short period of time, maybe 90 years, 70, 100, whatever. But that's what we do. And that cycle, and then we leave the body, we lose our memory, we come back in the body, we lose our memory, and for the most part, we start over every single time. That's the cycle. Okay? You know, we all know this, that how can we, right, as the gods we are in the body, and the bodies, and experiences, how can we go anywhere? How can we advance? One might say, well, we've advanced, we've got fancier cars and trucks and, fancier electronics and things. Not really. Not really when you look and say, well, we have telephone poles. And we've got combustible engines. Pretty much, right? We had those a long time ago. We've got medicines that don't cure us, but treat us. Which means it doesn't help us. It helps us to be in jeopardy all the time with our bodies. Well, and it doesn't really help us to have a good quality of life. It's all twisted. The ego mind is twisted in its beliefs and mechanism. It's a twisted thing. Why do you think our cycle is so repetitive for all of us? It pretty much is. No matter what you do on this planet, you're not going to ever remember it. That's the current state that we as a civilization are in. No matter what you do on this planet in this lifetime, you're not going to remember it. And no matter what you build, what you create, it's left behind. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how much effort and work you put into it. It's all going to leave because you will be gone. That's why you'll see some of us will say, I've spent my whole life hammering away at my profession and business, and I forgot to enjoy the life. Or slow down. Before, you're out of the body. to most of us, usually ends up that we miss it and we're out of the body. So all this, knowing it, see, is very enlightening, because once you know it, you're not judging it. You just say, okay, I understand the cycle. I really don't care to do this over and over again and not having any memory. My want is to do it, have memory, advance more, have memory, advance more. See? Perfect more. Experience more. Move on. Let go. Surrender. Move on. And not become sedentary, fearful. Because that's what happens. The older these bodies get, the more sedentary, more reserved, the more doubtful we become. And all that energy keeps us almost like in a still position, and things just kind of go right by us. Oh, that looks great. No. And what do we say? How many times? Oh, they're too old for that, or no, I'm past that. You're past getting in a swing. Oh, I might break a hip. In other words, what I'm saying is that we create our lives. We always have. Every one of them, no matter how many we've had or how many we will have, because remember, this journey is endless. This is what we do. So in the quiet time of this meditation, begin to remember. And the only way we can do that is to focus on the breath, be in a very still, statuesque position, totally relaxing into the body, and that's all you do. That's it. And just be. And the more we do that, the more we get coming in from the God that we are. The more we discover about who and what we are. Each time we do this, the more we understand who and what we are in these bodies. The more we understand that everything is temporary. That we're here to enjoy this life. But if we get all miscombobulated because of other people's thoughts, which is the programming and conditioning we receive, without knowing, what happens? We're born, we grow, we die. Without ever knowing. And then what happens? The light comes, and we go into the light, and we start it all over again. Except by the time we get into a new baby body, we don't know who and what we are again. So it smacks of amnesia for all of us, every single time, all of us. Yes, you will have moments when you're a child where you remember who you were, at least in the physical form, and the past life. But then that fades. So it all boils down to the only thing that we really have when we're on this planet is the now. That's it. Nothing else. We only have the now. So doesn't it make sense for us to spend our time only in the now? I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Let go of this anxious mind. Feel the calmness that exists deeper inside the heart of your soul. Feel this eternal flowing spring of peace by trusting everything. Right now, trust that you are being guided by something higher and more intelligent than your mind. Trusting means you are soft, open, relaxed, and have let go of fear. Trusting each moment is the path to total bliss and freedom. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. You'll return here. Monday, March 25, 2024. Around 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you.